What is up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Start Build Grow Show. This is a very special episode. We are actually going to kind of change it up a little bit, and we're actually going to do a tutorial and talk and kind of start to go a little bit more in depth on JobNimbus and how you can make the absolute most of your JobNimbus build out. We're going to give you some updates on some things that many contractors maybe aren't using properly, and some ideas on how to really maximize your JobNimbus build out and level up and increase efficiency. So if any of those things are of interest to you, you're probably going to want to stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the show. We got my man, Shane Carey. It's been a minute, dude. We've been friends for a long time. You are now working directly with us at the Roofing Academy. And I can't tell you enough how grateful, and man, we're getting rave reviews from a lot of our members who get a chance to connect and work with you. But I don't want to spoil it, man. Let's just start kind of welcome you in, as well as kind of give you a little give our viewers a little background on yourself and, what your experience is in this space.
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on your show today, Randy. I'm super excited. As you had mentioned, I worked for JobNimbus for approximately 7 years. I held quite a few different positions over there and had an opportunity to put my hand on both the sale and acquiring new customers, but also on helping ensure that people get their build out right, and creating some curriculum that helped us scale and grow without losing customers.
That's awesome. Well, give us a little context on, what kind of growth, obviously JobNimbus is a big friend of ours, big partnership of ours, a sponsor of the show for many years. And I have used that platform for many, many years with my own roofing company. And it's been tremendous value in helping us really create a very systemized and structured business. But it's not easy. It's a customized system, and you got to really, kind of do it right to really make them to maximize the value. But before we kind of get into that, let's give me some background on the growth that you experienced while working at JobNimbus. Because I remember when we first got in, I feel like, they were kind of just getting going. We're probably one of the, first few hundred clients, and now they're thousands of clients deep, and they're the largest CRM in the roofing space and doing some amazing things.
I think the growth is twofold, and let's focus on JobNimbus first. About 2 weeks into my time there, they had hit their $3 million in annual recurring revenue. And by the time I left, we were upwards of 75 million. And not only did we take a round of funding in 2020, but we were early to our Series B funding, and we made some Utah history along the way by that Series B funding being $330 million, which was an absolute blast to be a part of. And I still can remember Ben Hodson's, the CEO over there, saying it's going to feel like a whack-a-mole game as we grow and start to scale different departments. And it was a lot of fun to be relied upon and just be involved in all of the change that happened over that time. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention, because I said it was twofold, was just my own personal growth. I came into JobNimbus as a sales professional in a completely different industry, very stuffy, as a financial advisor for Morgan Stanley. And so it was a breath of fresh air, to be quite honest with you, to talk to and work with contractors that at the end of the day, we're all looking to grow and build something special. And it was good for me to see the opportunities or seize them as things would come up and roles would present themselves, and go from personal producer or individual contributor to a team lead, and even the sales manager. That was a huge honor for me.
Yeah, man, it's cool, man. It's so cool to I love talking to you about stuff, because it's cool to, entrepreneur. This is a show about entrepreneurship, and just being a part of a company that's that big with that level of scale, and to hear about the stories is just intriguing to me as like kind of nerd out on business, and there's a lot of us, who are listening and follow the show. We run roofing companies, we run construction companies, and, we're trying to grow and scale our businesses. And it's a whole different world, a whole different level. But I think there's some massive things to take away, and so much, is credited to being able to systemize and structurize and create like a very structured system for your business. And that's where a lot of contractors really struggle. I mean, most of us start a business. I remember the days of driving around my truck with a big box of files and trying to run as many jobs, running hundreds of jobs at a time. And those days are long gone. And now it's the age of technology. It's the age of information. And you've got to have your CRM dialed in order to really maximize the output of your business and do it in a sane way to keep you like sane. You know what I mean? It's crazy. A lot of companies, a lot of owners, work all day, every day. They find themselves burnt out. They're working like crazy. And it's amazing how just some simple tools and implementation of a good CRM and really getting, workflows and stuff like that, like built out, can help, really, really, really free up your time and actually get you some sanity back. So we're going to try to lean into that and help you out today. So, you have a lot of experience with JobNimbus, and here's one of the challenges that we have seen, and that a lot of people who are members and people who talk to us online, we watch online forums and those sort of things, is, people love JobNimbus, but it's you got to build it out. It's a customized system. And that's the big reason why I chose it, is because, I don't want to have to like adjust my business model to fit within the box of a pre-built system. And I wanted that customizability. But in order to really maximize the customizability, you got to have somebody that knows how to do it. And it's not rocket science. It's not like that hard, but you got to actually take the time to learn and do it. And what we have found through all this growth through JobNimbus is that it's really difficult, being it's a customizable system. It's really difficult to build out and keep up with, the customer experience and being able to support. That's one of the biggest complaints, let's be honest, that we get, is like, oh, it's so hard to get that support. So what JobNimbus has done is they've actually, created a certified implementation partner program. And the Roofing Academy, we have actually been, certified as an official partner to help implement and help build out JobNimbus for other people. And we have their blessing to do that, which is incredible. And we're one of the 3 founding kind of members of this program. So we're now able to, as a third party, work on and help implement, help update people's systems and help maximize their systems, not just our own members. You don't even have to be a member for us to do the service for you. So if you're interested in that, as we're going to dive into some more things, and if right off the bat, you're like, man, I really need some help with my JobNimbus, I would really encourage you to take a look at the link. There's going to be a link below here. And what we're doing is we're offering actually a 1-hour free assessment. So we're going to just take some time, jump onto a Zoom, log in and take a look at your JobNimbus for you and give you some tips and tricks and maybe identify some things to help you maximize your account. So we're going to do that absolutely free. You can book that out, and we're definitely going to be very limited on the number of people that we can do that for. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I would highly encourage you to book that link or click that link and book that call below.
Some might call it just a job, but they don't feel the weight of it. Rain, snow, heat, aching bones, and late for dinner again. But you keep climbing because families count on you. Homes stand because of you. And that's why we built Peak Performance, the playbook for progress. Real numbers, real insights from real contractors like you. Scan the code. It's completely free because it's more than just a job.
So as we dive in, Shane, you've had years and years of experience, and now you had the chance to work with probably hundreds, if not thousands of contractors. And now you're working really intimately with a lot of our members here at the Roofing Academy. What are some of the things that you've seen as you've done a number of these evals? What are some of the common mistakes or common things that you see that can be pretty easily fixed that contractors don't get right when they're building out their or trying to implement their JobNimbus?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things that I will echo that you said is having a flexible software tool actually helps you build something around how you operate, and also be future proof in that your business is going to change over time. And so having that flexibility was a huge differentiator for JobNimbus. So with that being said, there are definitely some common things that get overlooked along the way. And, the first being there's a template, a blueprint that's set up for you, but it is by no means a reflection of how you may operate your business. So I would say the first thing is simplifying the workflow to match the terminology that your team already uses when talking about the stage that a lead or a job is in. That in and of itself helps get buy-in with the rest of the team, and it means that it makes a lot of sense. Along with that, saving time and just making sure to eliminate human error, I've found that a lot of people overlook and often forget to set up automations. Really, I've found that it's out of fear that they're going to do something wrong. And, I would really hope that we can flip that mindset. And, I'm of the opinion that you want to fail fast. So, the automations, in my opinion, is one of the first ways that you can really dial in how you communicate with your prospects as well as your customers to make sure that you're not leaving opportunities on the table. Now, there are a lot of other things that go into that, but I think what helps the customer or not just the Roofing Academy, but JobNimbus end users in general, when I talk to them, is that I've been there. I leveraged maybe one of the most complex CRMs as far as setup goes in HubSpot, and I had to learn how to maximize every interaction in the software. So having that experience along with understanding the backend code with JobNimbus helps me reduce the amount of time it would take to go in and tweak those types of things.
Yeah. So the first two things we really want to evaluate and take a look at is workflows. And I remember when we first did this, and it's, you're gonna kind of have a little bit of a template, but every company's operated a little bit differently, and that's kind of the benefit of having a customizable system. So, correct me if I'm wrong. But what you're saying is take your workflow within your own business and the categories you may have and the titles you've given your workflows. And if you haven't actually done this, good old fashioned whiteboard, right? Grab a whiteboard and sit down with your team or yourself. If it's just you, sit down with your team and just try to think of your roofing business as like an assembly line, right? The lead comes in and where does it go from there? What happens after a lead comes in? What questions are asked? Where does it go? How does it get assigned does it get assigned to a project manager? Does it get assigned to someone in the office? Like your business, you're customizing this. So just think step by step how your business operates and how your customer journey goes from lead all the way through to the final, invoice and final closeout. And that's a great place to start. And you start simple, keep it simple, try to narrow it down to a handful of steps. And then what you do is within each one of those steps, list out like the micro steps within each one of those. So to start this, you don't necessarily have to start with a computer. I would encourage you to start with a whiteboard and your team and really just go back to the drawing board, go back to the early days of building and starting a business. I remember starting my business 20 years ago and getting a whiteboard, and I still have whiteboard right there. I have glass here, a huge whiteboard in my office. I still love whiteboarding. And I think that's a great place to start. And then what you do is once you illustrate that out, you fine tune it and make sure to simplify it and make sure your team is on the same page. And then here's a tip as to why do we want to do this with our team? You want buy-in. Because if you don't have buy-in with your team when you're implementing a CRM system, you're going to only use it to its very minimal, you're going to get the minimal benefit out of it. Like the key is like for us, like, if it's not in JobNimbus, it does not exist. Like nothing happens that doesn't get logged and get ran through the JobNimbus build and the system. And a lot of companies kind of make this mistake. So we're talking about workflows, talking about create that and kind of illustrate it out. And then what you do is customize the wording, the terminology within your JobNimbus build out to make it fit with how you're already operating your business. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And, speaking of whiteboards, that was one of my favorite pastimes, in working with my sales team there at JobNimbus. super beneficial. You get the buy-in that you need. And when the team buys in, that's when results start to go in the right direction. And I couldn't agree more with your comment about keeping it simple. Don't overwhelm your workflow with too many steps. Go from lead to paid and closed, and think of the key milestones that you need to take that job through in order to know exactly where it's at and manage that project efficiently.
Love it. Okay, so we're going on this journey to simplify and fix or implement our JobNimbus, and we're identifying those key milestones. And I want you to think about those milestones from a customer journey perspective. And something I always try to encourage our team and any of our members to really think about is, start with the end user experience first and work backwards. And the customer journey, the customer experience is what we're all about. So if we can create a really good customer experience, we can tap into our number one lead source, which is referrals. If you set a great expectation and over deliver on that expectation and make sure that every customer has a really great experience, guess what? You will naturally, organically grow your business just because they're going to recommend you over others because they had a great experience. And a key way to do that, a key fail safe for that, is the second thing you mentioned, and that's automations. Okay, what are some key identifying the milestones, identifying, where along that customer journey you want to ensure that specific information is being relayed and given to that customer to make sure that journey is intact and in a positive way. Then you want to add automations. What are some tips and tricks or some comments on how to add automations, or maybe if we're just getting started or we haven't make the most of our automations, what are some things that you've seen we can, help our listeners with?
Yeah, speaking of JobNimbus R&D and these automations, one of the things that we found to be very powerful was the need for creating a great impression through good communication with the homeowner. So automations is a great way that you can ensure that that's happening. Far too frequently we get busy, we're human, we forget. And instead of relying on yourself or a human being to do that, as you're moving through those workflow stages that we mentioned earlier, how are you communicating with the homeowner? Through text, which is preferred. It gets read a lot at a greater rate than emails, and that's only going to continue to go in opposite directions, in my opinion, and texting is super important. So I would say reminders about appointments so that you have the customer there. That's a great one. You can do that the day before, the day of. I also see reminders after a estimate or proposal has been sent out. You don't need to always be on the phone calling somebody. You can be touching base with them through a text and creating an engagement or an opportunity to continue the conversation that way. All the way to, hey, we just got done with your job. We know that you're happy. Why are we not sending them a couple messages encouraging them to give us a review online? I find that is so overlooked. And what you really want to do is create a one-click link that takes them right to, say, Google, for example. And that way you can drive more organic leads coming to your business simply by giving homeowners or businesses an opportunity to do their homework beforehand and see that you're a leader because of the reviews that you've been able to drive.
Love it. So from start to end, right? Text messaging, automations, JobNimbus has it. It's all built in now, right? And you're able to send text to confirm appointments. You can send texts, throughout the project, the production. That's a huge one too. Like, people want to know, when is the materials going to be there? When is the crew going to be there? What do I expect when the crew is going to be there? Like, do I need to move my car out of the driveway? Take your pictures off the wall. You can create automations for all these things. Same thing with invoicing, right? You can remind people that invoice goes out, right? At the end of the day, we got to collect our money to make money, right? At the end of the day, we got to make sure we have a good collections process. There's some amazing automations you can build out for that too. And then at the end, how do we do? Get that feedback. If you did rough, if it wasn't great, awesome. We learn from that and we get better. If it was great, fantastic. Can you leave a review for us? And then that's going to get us future business. So that's just some ideas. Like if you haven't implemented text to communication with your clients, prioritize that. And again, here's our shameless plug. Like if you need help identifying some of these things, if you need help kind of, you want a quick overview of your account, feel free to click the link. We're offering up a free JobNimbus assessment, account assessment, and you can jump on with Shane or one of our other members that are all experts in JobNimbus. We can help you and identify some of these things. Automation. So create some great automations from the lead all the way to production, all the way to to the maybe if you're doing supplementing, you can do some automations there to identify and let homeowners know like when the communication is happening with the insurance company. There's a lot of things you can do, a lot of automations you can build out. Again, keep it simple. It doesn't have to be completely overwhelming to the customer, but if you're very intentional and you simplify it. But here's the key. The system, it's great to build out these automations, but I'm a big believer that not only if we have all these automations, that's great, but that doesn't mean you can just eliminate human interaction. Okay. I'm still a big believer. My project managers, they still need to be communication. So they're linked to these automations. So they know when an automation goes out, then they can call the homeowner. Automation goes out, invoices sent, or funds have been released. We're complete with the job. The inspection has been complete. Great. Congratulations. Your job passed. This is a great opportunity for the customer service person, if it's a project manager or a CSR or somebody in-house, to check in and connect with the customer as well. So don't just think you can automate everything and not have that personal touch, because again, we're trying to make sure the customer experience is great. And if you have an automation and a personal touch, you're going to enhance that experience. So don't cut corners. Don't think this is an easy button, right?
That's a great point, because the top performing sales rep at JobNimbus, they didn't end their day until their task list was done. And JobNimbus had those task reminders that in our CRM, and JobNimbus has it too. So a roof's not going to sell itself. You definitely need to be on the phone. But if you've got those reminders in place to help maximize your sales rep's time, it can go a long way to helping drive greater results.
Love it. All right. So we talked about, making sure you create simple workflows. They match your company's, the dialogue, the terminology that you already used within your company. Customize that, make sure it fits well. That way you can plug and play easy. You create great automations and look for ways to any of those, when a project transfers from this to this to this department to this department, make sure there's great automations in place. What are some other things that you've identified and that you've seen that maybe some contractors just miss, overlook, or they just don't realize that this system has the capacity to do?
Yeah, I would say a lot of folks will create reports on spreadsheets without knowing that a lot of what they're doing in that spreadsheet can be accomplished within JobNimbus's classic reporting. So that is definitely one thing I've found over and over again that people struggle with, is how do I get my hands on the data that I need so I know how we're doing as a team. What goes along with that, in my opinion, they go hand in hand, is knowing where to go to do pipeline reviews with each sales rep on the team. I can't tell you how many times I've gone in to review a account and seen over $1 million hanging out in the sales funnel, and it, stuff's been there without being moved to lost for over 100 days. It's not uncommon for me to find up to $3-5 million in stuff just hanging out in that sales funnel. And I think that they go hand in hand. If you're able to run a report or leverage some of the visibility that the system's capable of providing, then you can avoid things stalling just because people aren't following up the way that they need to.
Man, that's massive. You want to pay for not only your JobNimbus account, but your TRA membership, like your coaching, all the things, like have the reporting in place. You're missing out. Like, how many jobs are you failing to capture simply because there's the accountability isn't in place? So let's build out reports and get data. So we talk about this endlessly, and I can't stress enough how important it is to run your business by the numbers. How do you run your business by the numbers without data, without accurate data? So if you haven't really leaned into JobNimbus reporting and creating custom reports for yourself, especially if you're an owner, if you're a manager, if you're a CEO of a roofing company, you need these numbers. Imagine how much better you can make decisions for your business if you have accurate data and reports that you're looking at. And it can be simple. Like, I don't know, I'm guilty as charged. Like, I am not the person that's going to log in and customize everything. I've surrounded myself with people that are really good with computers and really good with JobNimbus. That's great. But when I need a specific report, maybe it's a lead report, maybe it's a sales report, a pipeline report, a collections report, all these sort of things, we've created, like my team has created, Shane can go in and create. We can help you do this. If you're struggling with some of this, we can help you with it. So again, book the link and we'd love to connect you. We'll give you a free assessment. But what we can do is, as the owner of the company, there's certain things that I want to know: leads, follow-ups, the pipeline, stuff like that. Like, I want to see. And Bree has created these reports that literally it says Randy lead report. All I got to do is go in there and search Randy lead report, and boom, pops up. Click the button, and now I have my report, and I can adjust the dates as to what I want to see. And now I can lead with that. I can have I can sit down with my sales reps. I can sit down with my team and use that report to have really good intentional conversations to move the needle, to help drive sales and increase my growth of my business and increase our profitability. So all those things are great. Reporting, make sure you have great reporting. Again, if you need help with any of these things we're talking about, let us help you. We're certified through JobNimbus, one of only 3 companies that are actually certified through JobNimbus to do this. Shane has 7.5 years of experience, and the rest of our team we have multiple people on our staff with over 8 years of experience working within JobNimbus. So we can definitely help you out with these challenges. All right, what else? Let's get one more, big thing maybe that maybe is a common mistake that you see as you've done all these evals with different companies.
Yeah, I'm going to give you like the one thing, and then I want to leave everybody with a couple of thoughts. First thing that I can see real quickly is there a process in place to take the information at the inspection and make sure that all of the relevant details are collected consistently to eliminate things slipping between the cracks, impacting your production schedule? Maybe somebody has to go back out. All of that is an expense to the business. So, something that people haven't really found out yet, and I don't know if it's just the word wasn't shared great, but it's the ability to take a form inside of JobNimbus and have the data that you're collecting mapped to a field inside of the system. And that way, whenever another hand or another person pulls up that job file, all of those details are there for you. You don't have to go looking around, chasing a document that may have flew out the window of a truck. And honestly, it's what we used at JobNimbus to create consistency. I was the first account executive or sales rep, and then we grew to 13. And in order to do that, you have to get everybody on the same page. And by doing so, I can create predictability.
Absolutely. Imagine predicting the growth of your business, right?
Exactly.
Or predicting like leveling out, or, you can make really strategic decisions when you have, again, beat the dead horse. If you have the data, then you can make really good decisions as a leader of your business.
Exactly. A couple of other things that calculation for the estimates. So JobNimbus can take measurements and take those and then calculate how much material is needed for shingles, hip and ridge, underlayment, you name it. And a lot of folks are still struggling to figure out how to do that. That is something that we've got down on lock. We understand how to build that, test it, and make sure that you can leverage one of the best time-saving solutions or features that I've seen JobNimbus release in quite a long time. And that's with the new SumoQuote estimating experience inside of JobNimbus. And the other one is people don't even know that they're not on the newest instance of JobNimbus, and it can greatly help the team avoid a lot of mistakes and really, again, simplify things and give you access to features that they don't even know about. So that's something that I've been trying to make everybody aware of in my conversations, and it's been fun to help them turn the corner, get that new instance, and everybody's celebrating that experience is a lot more intuitive.
How do if I'm looking at my account, like, how do I know whether I'm on the newest version of JobNimbus or not?
Yeah, if you're looking at your desktop app and up at the top of the screen, you see an icon for contacts, that's a good indicator that you're not on the newest version. If you don't see contacts and you click on the add a customer button up there, it'll just say add a job. That's the new instance. If you're on the old one, it would say add contact, add job. And that's where a lot of confusion comes in, especially with new sales reps. And there's a lot of turnover in sales in this industry.
Yeah. Well, let's lean in. Let me lean into that for a minute because that's come up a lot. The jobs versus contacts debate, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but the old instance, you had the option to set it up to where you wanted to lead with contacts or lead with jobs, and now they converted it to where everything is jobs. Is that correct?
Yeah, they still have contacts, but you're not tracking that opportunity on the contact level, right? As you create the contact, you create the job at the same time, and then your job prospect is getting tracked from lead to paid and closed, greatly simplifying the process. And I mean, it's called JobNimbus for a reason. So I like that they went in that direction.
Okay, awesome, man. So this is some awesome advice. And for those of you who are just maybe tuning in or you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or whatever it may be, I highly encourage you to like, subscribe. We have hundreds of episodes of the Start Build Grow Show out with tons of clips and different just tidbits and pieces of advice. Myself and our team and everybody we interview, we are passionate about helping contractors succeed and helping good people win in the roofing industry. It is not easy to be an entrepreneur. It is not easy to build a roofing business. It is not easy to build a multi-million-dollar company. It's not easy to scale your company. And we are literally on a mission. I wake up every day, thinking of ways of how do we help the industry. And the reason I do that, the reason we do that, is because this industry has saved my life. This industry has been an incredible blessing to me, my family, and took me from a place of, a really, really rough place in life. And it gave me an opportunity to succeed. And it's been such a blessing for me and my family. And I just feel like it's my duty, it's my responsibility to give back to the industry. So that's why we do this. We're passionate about helping people win. We want to help the industry get better each and every day. And we want to help good, high integrity people win. So if any of that makes sense and any of that resonates with you, make sure to like, subscribe, share this out with somebody. And we would love the opportunity to connect with you. We offer free discovery calls if you're interested in any of our full service. We have a full service coaching platform. We can help companies from startup all the way up through $10 million or more in revenue. We can do, we have CFO service, fractional CFO services. We have services to help you with your CRM systems, to help you implement and systemize your production department, your operations team, HR, hiring, and onboarding. We can really help you with all these things and help you build out an incredibly efficient, successful, sustainable, and profitable roofing business. So make sure to subscribe. There's a ton of free content on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook channel. So it's either the Roofing Academy or the Start Build Grow Show, or myself, any of my personal accounts, Shane's personal accounts. We'd love to interact with you, and make sure to click that link below if you would like to take advantage of our free assessment. And the reason I tell you to like, subscribe, because click the little button, you'll get notified every time we release a video. We try to release one every single week, if not every other week. And we're going to start doing a series where Shane and our team and Bree, we're going to bring them out. We're creating a list of some of the challenges and some things that we can help contractors with their JobNimbus. And we're going to do screen shares and help work through step-by-step challenges. So stay tuned, because those will be coming out in the near future, and we'll be releasing more and more really like impactful tips and tricks and advice to help build out a really good system and maximize and make the most of your JobNimbus. All right, Shane. Thank you for hanging out with me, my man. You're the man as usual, and I can't say enough how much I appreciate you. Coming on our team and hanging out with us, and all of our members that have had a chance to interact with you. You've done some amazing things, and I'm excited for the future. So, thank you, brother. Thanks for joining me, and let's all have a great day. Take care, everybody. God bless.